Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily for Wednesday, August 6th. I'm your host for today, Riley Fessler, joined by Minna Stein. How are you, Minna?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. Our intrepid leader, David, is busy this morning, so you're stuck with just the two of us, but he'll be back later this week, so fear not. He is well. We've not gotten rid of him just yet.
Haven't overthrown him just yet.
No, it's coming, but not yet. Well, to get things started, U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russian President Vladimir Putin for 3 hours in a last-ditch attempt to reach a breakthrough in the Ukraine war before President Trump's sanctions deadline. The talks were described by the Kremlin as useful and constructive, with both sides exchanging signals, though no concrete agreements were announced. Russia may propose a limited moratorium on airstrikes, falling short of the full ceasefire sought by Ukraine and the U.S. Despite Trump's threats of heavy tariffs on countries trading with Russia, Putin is unlikely to make major concessions, prioritizing military goals over diplomatic progress. And on that note, I literally just got a news alert that they have imposed a 25% tariff on India, following up on an earlier story from this week where Trump was threatening to do so over their imports of Russian gas and oil. So it seems like, it's hard to say, but it seems like Trump is actually taking this seriously now. He was late to the party, but he did finally realize Putin is not a straight shooter, which, to which I say better late than never. But, we'll have to see if Trump follows through with these sanctions. Don't know. Taco is a phrase for a reason, so we'll see if Putin can wriggle his way out of these, but it seems different than before from Trump. So, maybe he will actually go through with it.
We planned that news alert. I planted it.
You told the White House to hold it until 10:25 a.m.
Until you were reading the story to just really give our listeners a thrill during their first story. But moving on to a story that we've been covering pretty much all week from Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott asked the state Supreme Court to remove Democratic Representative Jean Wu from office, arguing that Wu's role in a quorum break to block redistricting legislation constitutes abandonment of office. Wu defended his absence as constitutional duty to oppose what he called a, quote, racist gerrymandering map pushed by Abbott and Donald Trump, while legal experts say the governor's argument has little constitutional basis. Attorney General Ken Paxton, though supportive of restoring a quorum, challenged Abbott's authority to seek Wu's removal and hinted at bringing his own lawsuit if the stalemate continues. This is very troubling because these Democrats are working, with the tools that they have. They're working within the law. They're doing what they can to make sure that this racist gerrymandering map isn't put into effect. And it's very respectable what they're doing. Like, they're doing the right thing and standing up to quote unquote powers that be. And it's troubling to see the governor, with the story that we covered yesterday and what's going on today. It's troubling to see the governor enacting, very fascist things to go after these people who are, using the tools that they have to make sure that these things don't happen. So we will continue to follow this story and, hope that it has a happy ending, but we'll see. We hope that this, gerrymandering map doesn't go through, but I think it's good that these Democrats are drawing attention to it and making it, a national story and something that everybody is turning their eyes towards.
Yeah, and kudos to the Texas Democrats for showing some backbone. It's something that we've talked about on this show as the Democratic Party is sorely lacking during the second Trump administration. So, good to see them being real leaders and actually resisting the schemes of the Republicans. Hopefully more can follow in their footsteps and actually give real resistance like this.
For sure.
Top Trump administration officials are meeting at the vice president's residence to decide whether to release a transcript and audio recording of Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's recent interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. The handling of the Epstein case and public messaging strategy is a central focus, with internal debate over whether releasing the materials would reignite controversy. Discussions have included the possibility of Blanche giving a public interview, potentially with Joe Rogan, though plans remain preliminary. While President Trump says he supports transparency, officials remain divided on the timing and scope of any release, especially as the DOJ continues to redact sensitive content. I wonder what that sensitive content is. Could it be the names of Trump allies? I'll let you guys, our dear listeners, decide for yourselves. I would hate to speculate. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of theorizing that they are gearing up to give a pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell if she gives them the names of people they want to hear. I certainly think that is possible. I don't know how likely, but it would not surprise me in the least. But I imagine that would be an incredibly unpopular decision. I don't know how you could possibly spin that to the MAGA base. You know, even if she does give you the names of people you want to hear and not the names you don't want to hear, I can't imagine that releasing one of the most prolific pedophiles in American history is going to be a celebrated move among the MAGA base, who proclaims to care so much about children and the sexual abuse of children, which, based on their response to the kind of waffling on releasing the Epstein files, it seems like they do actually care. So I'm curious what strategy they're going to cook up at this meeting. But, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because it's obvious that Trump orbiters, if not Trump himself, are in the files. There were reports the other day that Trump's name was in the files, and that the Attorney General warned him that they were in there. So I don't know how you can be fully transparent if you don't want to release the files with your name in them, or name of your allies in them. So I'm not really sure what they're going to figure out at this meeting, but we will see.
Well, they've already been doing things to butter her up and get what they want. Like, they moved her to a different prison. So I don't know. I hate to put on my tinfoil hat and get into the conspiracy theory, but I don't know.
I don't even know if you can call it a conspiracy theory at this point. It seems pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think so too, but...
And I think even the most MAGA faithful are starting to be like, what's going on? But, you never know. We'll see.
Yes. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the cancellation of $500 million in federal funding for new mRNA vaccines, shifting focus to, quote, safer, broader vaccine platforms that remain effective despite virus mutations. The decision ends several key BARDA contracts, including one with Moderna, and has sparked criticism from public health experts who argue the move ignores the proven benefits of mRNA technology in reducing severe illness and poses national security risks. Critics also point to Kennedy's history of promoting vaccine misinformation and excluding major medical organizations from federal advisory roles. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even talk about this story because it's just so bad, so obviously bad. It's hard to dig into or expand upon it because it's just so blatantly the wrong choice. I feel like everybody should be on the same page that this is not good. Why on earth our health secretary is making it harder to protect people, or harder for people to get care that they need, or going out of his way to make people less safe, and going out of his way to create national security risks and make people experience severe illness. That just makes absolutely no sense to me. And this decision is coming from somebody who said to Congress, well, nobody should be taking my advice when it comes to medicine. Why would you take my advice?
Yeah, and I just don't trust that line, shifting focus to safer, broader vaccine platforms. RFK Jr., mRNA became the target because I think it was an easier target for anti-vaxxers during the pandemic. But like, make no mistake that he doesn't support vaccines just broadly. So him saying he's going to shift focus to safer, broader vaccine platforms, you shouldn't believe that. I mean, this is a guy that has propped up bunk science in the past. There are bunk scientists in his administration at the agency, so we shouldn't believe this. Oh, they're just going to shift to kind of tried and true vaccine platforms. They're going to roll that back too. mRNA was just the target they hyperfixated on because they, your guess is as good as mine. They're just not very intelligent, frankly, and viewed it as an evil. But they're, as soon as that dragon is slayed, they're going to move to a new target. So make no mistake, we're not going to get safer, broader vaccine platforms. We're just going to get less vaccines, less responsive vaccines should another pandemic break out, which we can only hope and pray that it doesn't, because we will be screwed if another pandemic breaks out under the watch of RFK Jr. But given everything he does, it becomes increasingly likely every day. So we'll just have to hope that for the next 3.5 years we avoid a disastrous pandemic, because the death toll will be considerably higher under the watch of RFK Jr. than it would basically anyone else, anyone that believes in science anyway. Well, to close things out, President Trump announced he has narrowed his list of potential Federal Reserve Chair nominees to 4, including Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh, as he looks to replace Jerome Powell before his term ends in 2026. Trump, who has long criticized Powell for being slow to cut interest rates, is considering reshaping the Fed's leadership and possibly diminishing Powell's influence. The recent resignation of Fed Governor Adriana Kugler has given Trump an opportunity to appoint a new board member who might also succeed Powell. Both Hassett and Warsh are strong supporters of Trump's economic agenda, with Warsh in particular calling for sweeping changes to the Fed's operations. Not good. The Fed should be largely politically independent. Managing the economy is an important job that should really kind of be outside of politics. It should be relatively steady, but it's not moving fast enough for Trump because he's nuking the economy with tariffs and other stupid decisions. So he can't back down on those. So he has to look for other ways to stabilize the economy. And he thinks bending the Fed to his will is the way to do that. Newsflash, it's not. That's only going to make things way worse. So we can only hope that Jerome Powell can kind of cling on until the end of his term. But as soon as he's out, it's going to be trouble. So, cheerful news stories today. Sorry for that, everyone. But not a lot of cheerful news in general right now. But we have to keep bringing you the breaking headlines you need to hear. So sorry for the depressing listen, but we hope you'll join us again. Maybe there'll be some positive news tomorrow. You never know. We've gotten some lately. But if there is, you'll hear it right here on the DSR Daily. And until then, bye-bye.